Okay, so right now we're gonna answer your questions that you these are from Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just gonna flash the names and the questions right here. So the first one is from May Yeri Kanay. Her question is it easy to get a job in Canada? Saan sila nagbe-base sa pinag-aralan or experience? So in English, she said, of course, is it easy to get a job in Canada? Where do they base it in, like your work experience or your, like if you have a degree back home? Honestly, I think right now, the trend now, because what they want now is mostly for food industry, hospitals. I think you have to have at least some experience or an experience, or I really don't know honestly, but I think that's what it is, because my brother, I told you, like what I mentioned, is still the manager for Second Cup, and he's still getting Filipino workers abroad from back home, and I think he told me you should have an experience in the related industry, which is the food industry or service industry, let's call it service industry, and also your school background should be or your educational background should be related somehow to it, like maybe HRM or something like that. But during our time, like 10 years ago, it doesn't really matter. Seriously, it doesn't matter. It's just like I graduated communication arts. It has nothing to do with being a barista. I have absolutely no experience in the food industry, but I have experience in the service industry, like as a customer service, right? When I worked for Philippine Airlines, I was a customer service there or reservations officer there, and then of course that, and also when I work with Smart Communications as a customer service officer. So I kind of have that experience really when it comes to dealing with customers, but with the food industry I didn't have. But I was still very lucky that I got that barista job. But because during that time there's not a lot of us competing, it's the rules are different. It's very different right now. I'm not quite sure if it's that easy to come here still. So, but you know, there's the website, it's the cic.gc.ca that you can always go to. You can read there and everything is there. So yeah, so thank you for your question. Next one is from Beauty and Beyond. She said, nice concept, sis. My question is, why did you come to Canada? Yeah, so I already answered that. I came to Canada because I didn't make it to Dubai. I didn't find any job here, and we got an invitation to travel to Canada. So I got a travel visa here, and I didn't go back home. I just converted my travel visa to a working visa, and then I became a permanent resident, and then I became a Canadian citizen. So that's my story. Thank you for your question, sis. Next one is from Mele Camille. Ano po ang mga work na pinapasukan ng kadalasang kararating pa lang po ng Canada? In English, she asked, what is the usual job or work that the people who come to Canada, what do they do here first? Usually they come here for the service industry, food industry, like working at McDonald's, working at Tim Hortons, working at Subway, what else? Second Cup, not sure with Starbucks, but I know Tim Hortons, there's a lot of foreign workers there. Edo Japan, Taco Time. Basically, everything you see in the food court, everything you see, like the food industry, A&W, mostly, I tell you guys, they're all Filipinos. Almost. So thank you for your question. Next is from Catherine Regina. Hey, babe. So she said, can't wait, babe. Happy filming. My question is, what was the most important thing or person that you had to leave here in the Philippines, and how did you manage to cope? Miss Universe. Girl, Miss Universe siya. So anyways, what was the most important thing or person? Well, like what I mentioned earlier, I was in a long-term relationship that time, so I had to leave my ex-boyfriend. Of course, leaving my parents, and my younger brother, EJ, you've seen him in my vlogs. That time, he was only 11 years old. 11. So, he's really our baby in the family. So anyways, yeah, it was hard. And of course, my friends, I have lots of friends there that I always see and I always go out with. So that was hard. It was, but to be very honest, of course, it was hard to leave your boyfriend, right? Like, especially during that time, we were like, I think on our 3rd year. So yun. That was an honest answer. It was really hard to leave him. It was hard, like I almost died. Anyways, and how did you manage to cope? I cope up with making myself busy. Of course, when we started with our job, every day work. You come home, sleep, eat, sleep, work again. I would take shifts, like extra shifts, just to, you know, if people can't come to work, I would take it. Sometimes I would work like 12 days, 14 days in a row, no days off. I didn't mind that. I was just like, all I did was I just kept working. I didn't even go out, to be honest with you. When I came to Canada, I stopped partying because back in the Philippines, I was a party animal. Sorry guys, I still have the sniffles, but back in the Philippines, not the party animal, but I'm always like with my friends, out with my friends, out with my brother. We're always at the club, or we're always drinking, or when I was already with my ex-boyfriend, we were always, you know, together. We're watching movie or like going out and all that stuff. So when I came here, all I did was I focused myself on work. What was my goal? What I wanted to be? I wanted to be a permanent resident. I want to be a Canadian citizen. I want to save money. I want to have a good future, blah blah blah. So work. That's what I did. And of course, a lot of prayers, a lot of things happened too during the course of that 10 years. You know what? Of course, one of those is my ex-boyfriend and I broke up. I didn't want to go into details, but it was a very bad breakup. It was really bad breakup. It really shook my faith during that time, but it's okay. I'm alive. I'm okay. Okay, so we have our special guest over there. So he's crying downstairs looking for me. So he has to be in the video. Say hi, Eli. Hi. Okay, now let's go ahead with the next question. The next question is from Jessica, or Super Babe TV. This is now from Instagram. The other questions are from Facebook. This is now from my Instagram. She asked, what was the hardest thing about adjusting in a new country for you? The hardest thing, one of the hardest things is the language barrier. Of course, I know how to speak English, but it's like listening to them. Sometimes you talk to people and their accents are, they talk so fast and I couldn't understand a word that they say. So even if I don't understand, I would just say yeah and I pretend that I understand, and up to this very day I still do that. I'd be like, yeah, okay, but I didn't do that. I didn't understand a word. Even with my husband, guys, you know, my husband is born and raised here. He's Caucasian, so sometimes he talks way too fast and I'll be like, okay, Dada. But honestly, I did not understand a word, and I feel like my boss would know that. Sometimes my boss, hi Gary, he would tell me something and I'll be like, what did he say? What was it again? Either I would ask it again or I'll just pretend that, yeah, I understood that. Yeah, so yeah, it's the language, it's the, you know, because a lot of them, and also people sometimes, they have a hard time understanding my accent. So during that time, I think I've already developed, I speak better now, but during the time that I came here, I'm like more timid, I'm more shy, I'm very, very shy. I don't like even to speak to people because I feel like they're gonna make fun of my accent, and I still have this funny accent. I don't care now, but yeah, I think it's the language barrier is one of the hardest thing to adjust, and also so the communication, right? Because, you know, totally different accent, totally different language. We're used to speaking Tagalog, although at home in the Philippines we speak English to my youngest brother because in their school he went to OB Montessori, so they had to speak English. So we actually, EJ doesn't know a lot of Tagalog words growing up, so he only learned Tagalog, maybe he's already in college, but he didn't know how to speak Tagalog before. So yeah, communication, language. That was the hardest thing. Also, one of the hardest things was being homesick. I swear, guys, I spent so many Christmas Eves and so many Christmas mornings crying on my bed, crying. Like I'd be really sad, and up to this very day I get sad. Like it's Christmas is coming up and my parents are still back home. I haven't been home since the last time I took vacation in the Philippines was in 2009. So it's been like what, 7 years I haven't been back home. Yeah, usually I would go back home when I was single. I'd go back home every year to have a vacation, but now since I have my 2 kids, it's pretty hard to go back home, and plus we don't want to take them to the Philippines yet because of the pollution, and you know what, of course it's gonna be very expensive for the 4 of us, so we just make our parents come here. So every year my mom comes here anyways, my dad would come here, so that should be okay for now. Hang on. Okay, so we have our special guest over there, so he's crying downstairs looking for me, so he has to be in the video. Say hi, Eli. Hi. Okay, now let's go ahead with the next question. The next question is from Jessica, or Super Babe TV. This is now from Instagram. The other questions are from Facebook. This is now from my Instagram. She asked, what was the hardest thing about adjusting in a new country for you? The hardest thing, one of the hardest things is the language barrier. Of course I know how to speak English, but it's like listening to them. Sometimes you talk to people and their accents are they talk so fast and I couldn't understand a word that they say. So even if I don't understand, I would just say yeah and I pretend that I understand, and up to this very day I still do that. I'd be like, yeah, okay. But I didn't do that. I didn't understand a word. Even with my husband, guys. You know, my husband is born and raised here. He's Caucasian. So sometimes he talks way too fast and I'll be like, okay, Dada. But honestly, I did not understand a word. And I feel like my boss would know that. Sometimes my boss, hi, Gary. He would tell me something and I'll be like, what did he say? What was it again? Either I would ask it again or I'll just pretend that, yeah, I understood that. Yeah, so yeah, it's the language, it's the, you know, because a lot of them, and also people sometimes, they have a hard time understanding my accent. So during that time, I think I've already developed, I speak better now, but during the time that I came here, I'm like more timid, I'm more shy, I'm very shy. I don't like even to speak to people because I feel like they're gonna make fun of my accent, and I still have this funny accent. I don't care now. But yeah, I think it's the language barrier is one of the hardest thing to adjust, and also so the communication, right? Because, you know, totally different accent, totally different language. We're used to speaking Tagalog, although at home in the Philippines we speak English to my youngest brother because in their school he went to OB Montessori, so they had to speak English. So we actually, EJ doesn't know a lot of Tagalog words growing up, so he only learned Tagalog, maybe he's already in college, but he didn't know how to speak Tagalog before. So yeah, communication, language, that was the hardest thing. Also, one of the hardest things was being homesick. I swear, guys, I spent so many Christmas Eves and so many Christmas mornings crying on my bed, crying. Like I'd be really sad, and up to this very day I get sad. Like it's Christmas is coming up and my parents are still back home. I haven't been home since the last time I took vacation in the Philippines was in 2009. So it's been like what, 7 years I haven't been back home. Yeah, usually I would go back home when I was single. I'd go back home every year to have a vacation, but now since I have my 2 kids, it's pretty hard to go back home, and plus we don't want to take them to the Philippines. So, and also one hard thing is adjusting to the weather. Oh my gosh, here in Alberta the weather is just crazy. It's way too cold in the winter, and the winter lasts for so many months. We had like sometimes 6 months, 7 months of winter. I experienced in 2009 it was super cold. It was like minus 55 something. We were colder than where's that? Sarnia? No, something. We were colder than that place. I promise I will remember that because I was driving. We are gonna go to a Filipino Christmas party. It was super cold.
Mommy too.
Yeah, and then yeah, the weather, being homesick, and of course language. So those were the hard things. And what else? Yeah, everything is hard when you're in a foreign land, or a foreign country. Everything is hard. So it's just up to you how to cope up with it, and just be strong. Next is from Maureen Nea, and her question is, she said, "Hi pretty sis." Hi sis, thank you. Ilang years ka na po dyan sa Canada, at saan po kayo sa Canada? Kasi sister-in-law ko sa Alberta, kamusta din po ang pang-araw-araw na buhay dyan? Thanks po. So she asked, how long have I been here in Canada and where at, and her sister-in-law lives here in Alberta. I've been here for 10 years in Alberta. I've never been to a different province. Just here in Alberta. I just switched back to Sherwood Park. So I'm from Sherwood Park, and then we moved to Edmonton, and then back to Sherwood Park. How's the everyday life here? Honestly, not the same as the Philippines. Here, it's just like you have a routine. You go to work, you wake up, you have cook breakfast. If you have kids, you take care of your kids, and if you have work, you go to work, come home, cook, things like that. It depends. If you're single, your lifestyle. When I was single, my lifestyle was like, I go to work early in the morning. My shift starts at 5:30 in the morning, and then it ends at 1:30. I would go to the gym after. I would spend 2 hours at the gym, and then eat a little late lunch, early supper. And then I would start chatting with my ex-boyfriend or with my friends on during that time Skype, YM. I would start chatting, and then around 8 o'clock I'd be getting ready for bed because I have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day. So that was my life when I was single here. All I did was work, eat, go to the gym. That's it. I didn't go to parties. Or maybe I went 1, 2 times, 3 times. I don't even remember. Maybe, but not all the time. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, but when I got married and had children, because we have 2 kids now. So my lifestyle is different now. It's all about taking care of them. I take care of myself still. Sometimes I would, although one thing I always been doing is I always have a job. I always have a job. The only time I stopped working because I was on a mat leave as every time I would give birth. But other than that, I always have a job. I always do. When I was single, so I got a full-time job, and then as I got married and have children, I still keep a part-time job. Always. That's how I am. I always like to earn my own money. It doesn't matter if my husband gives me money or my husband provides for everything. I still want to earn my own money. That's how I am, and that's how I'm gonna be. And yeah, I just want to be able to have money for myself, have money to help my husband too, or to just give my children whatever they need. That's how I am, and that's how I always will be. So there. Next question is from Mr. and Mrs. Ran. Anyway, what do you prefer, working mom or stay-at-home mom, and why? Or pang-miss yun na ba ang tanong? So she's asking what do I prefer, being a working mom or stay-at-home mom. I prefer to be a working mom. I stayed home every time for 1 year, or not even a year, maybe 10 months at home every time after I give birth. I would just be at home, and I love it. I love being at home with my kids. I absolutely love them. I absolutely adore them with all my heart. But I love also working because I get to earn my own money. I get to buy whatever I like. I get to spoil my husband, spoil my kids, help my brothers, or you know what, I love it. This is me. I have nothing against stay-at-home mom. I respect them, but this is my own preference. This is me. I love being a working mom because, and what I do is only part-time, so I only work 11 to 15 hours. So that's just 2 to 3 times a week. So I still have in 7 days a week. I only work 3 days or 2 days. The 5 days I devote myself to my kids and to my husband. So I think that's fair enough, right? That's fair enough to them, and that's fair enough to me. That's how I am. So yeah, I prefer to be a working mom, but I have so much respect to stay-at-home moms. But you know what? Now that I also have my home-based business, I am already trying to switch to just being home-based. So yeah. Next, lovely mom Amora. Can't wait to watch this video. Nice to get to know you better. My question to you: how you manage between working mom and a family? Like what I said, it's only 2 days a week that I work, so 5 days I am still at home with my kids. And you know what? Everything is on a schedule. I have a mommy calendar on my fridge, like a big mommy calendar. All the things that I have to do for that week, for the day, if there's any appointments, I put it on that mommy calendar. So everything is, it's all about time management. That's what I'm gonna say. It's all about time management and being able to, you know, balance everything, and also make time for yourself. Because to me, really, it's very important to go get a massage, to go to a salon, to spend some time with your friends, or even with my brother. My brother is my bestest friend, so I always spend time talking to him, or even with my younger brother EJ. Even if he's younger, I can tell him, you know. And I like to go out by myself, you know. I always like to sit down and just, like, I can eat by myself at the food court. I don't care. I don't care. People look at me, whatever. I can watch a movie by myself. Seriously, I do that, and I just do, and I go shopping by myself. That's my therapy. Retail therapy is the best. So yeah, that's how I manage my time. Always look at my mommy calendar. I have just balance everything out and look after myself, because if I get sick, it's hard, right? So I look after myself, take a lot of green juice, vitamins, and yeah. So next is from Sickening Girl Amy. Can't wait to watch her TMI video, girl. Question: how long do you live in Canada? Like what I mentioned, I've been here for 10 years now. Mai Alcera Ligaya, how to be you po? Kidding aside, mas masarap ba ang buhay sa Canada kaysa sa Pilipinas? Or is it better to live in the Philippines or in Canada? I would say, girl, honestly, if you have money, it's better to live in the Philippines if you have lots of money, and you know, because there everything is so chill. You have, you know. But in Canada now, my life is here, my family is here, so I prefer to live here. I don't know if I could still live in the Philippines, to be honest with you, because of all the traffic and the pollution. But I would always want to visit back home and, you know, see my friends, my family, my relatives. But I think my life is already here in Canada, so I am embracing it. I am proud to be a Canadian citizen. I am proud to call myself a naturalized Canadian citizen, and I'm proud to sing our national anthem. But I would always be a Filipino at heart. And my values, the Filipino values, I like to instill it to my kids, to my children. And yeah, so depende. It's really like, you know, Philippines, it's all about party, like go to the beach, kind of chill. As long as you have money, go ahead. But I prefer living here in Canada now. That's my honest answer. So there. All stuff nice. Ano first job mo sa Canada, sis? Or she said, what was my first job here in Canada? Like what I said, I was a barista. So yeah, making coffee, lattes. I love being a barista. It's just super fun. It's super fun. So, fun fact, when I was in the Philippines, I tried applying to be a barista at the Starbucks, and they would never hire me because they said I'm overqualified. And it's kind of like, I don't know why, because I think they like, I don't know why. They said honestly, there's a Starbucks near our house in BF Homes. I applied there, they didn't take me because they said I'm overqualified as a barista. But I didn't want to be a manager because I don't know anything. I just want to be a barista and make coffee, and you know. So anyway, when I became a barista here, that was kind of a fulfillment of my dream. One of my dreams. My ultimate dream is to be an entrepreneur or to be a businesswoman, which is I'm trying to do right now and hopefully become successful. Katie Cat, eto po question ko, how long have you been in Canada? Is it because of work, travel visa, or fiancé visa? Like what I said, I've been here for 10 years and I started here with a travel visa converted into a working visa. So not a fiancé visa at all. I met my husband. I'm already a manager at Second Cup, so I'm already working towards I'm going to be a permanent resident. But since I married him, he just did a sponsorship for me, so I became a permanent resident and then eventually became a Canadian citizen. So, but I was already a manager, so yeah, not a fiancé visa. Next, I think that's it. Meron pa ba? Oh, one last question from MJ Cox, also from Instagram. She said, or she asked, would you move back to the Philippines once your children is all grown up? I couldn't answer this question right now because it's way too far from the future. Definitely, I would like to have a property in the Philippines one day. Not a house. I do not want to have a house there. Honestly, I do not want to own a house in the Philippines. I would like to own maybe a resort or a farm, but not a house. I don't want to own a house there because we already have a house here, and I want my investments to be here in Canada. But the only thing that I want in the Philippines is a farm for myself when we're old, and then so that my kids can enjoy it, and that's it. That's all I want. Okay, so this video is going to be very, very long, and that's all the questions that you have for me, and I hope that this video helps you guys, and I hope that this will inspire you in any way. Or, you know, if you're from the Philippines and if you're planning to come to Canada and you would like to visit Canada or see what's in store for you here, I hope this video would help you. Also, if you're already from Canada, if you're a foreign worker, don't lose hope. Always strive for for a better future. Work hard every day, pray to God, and everything will fall into the right places. So that's it for you today, guys. It was nice sharing my life with you here in Canada. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Have a great day, guys.